Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next topic will be very interesting because it's basically starting from the bottom, because now we're talking about the grassroots of esports. An international grassroots esport entrepreneur will be our presenter, who's basically know the esports inside out. Please welcome Martin Fritzen.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here, Fanny, and the rest of the team. I think I've really enjoyed this conference, even though the sun is shining and it's warm outside. I went for a walk across the bridge in the lunch break. It's so beautiful. So thanks a lot for this conference. That's right. I am Martin. I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark, or close to Copenhagen. I am working at a Danish sports organization called DGI. I'm leading a team of 14 people. We help sports clubs, sports associations on a grassroots way to build esport activities. So this means that every little boy or little girl can join a sports club and play their preferred video game, almost. And we see a lot of boys and girls doing this. We still see some people think that this is not for girls, but I think it's close to 50-50 in Denmark that we see girls are as welcome as the boys are, but especially on the competitive scene in Denmark as well, girls are not really happy there, mostly because of the language. But what we see is actually when we take the girls and we coach them and educate them and give them female coaches, and we kind of make sure that they will only practice, alone, they have so much fun. So I think we found a way to do this. Right, I have 25 slides and not enough time, so let me get started. Let me just say I wrote a book on how to build an esports club and how we are structuring esports in Denmark and in the Nordics. I gave one to Fanny, and I can just send you one by email if you want one. Just let me know. All right, so just short, I'm head of esports at DGI. I'm founder of the biggest esports club in Denmark. We have more than 300 paying members, and they participate in practice. So we're not a team, we're not an organization, we are like a sports club, and we have paying members. And they join to practice a few times a week. They go to tournaments and they have fun. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I like to start up things, and I have my background in sales and marketing. I was talking to Fanny about what should I say, and then it came down to how we are structuring esports in Denmark, and how the V4 countries could, how my ideas about what you guys could do. So, is this the video, maybe? No, it's not. All right. There's a video somewhere. So just to have a look at where we are at in Denmark, this is amateurs. This is boys and girls, 10, 12 years old, all the way up to, we have members 50, 60, we even have women at 75, 80 years old joining our clubs because they like to play video games. More or less, they play Counter-Strike, League of Legends. We're not so concerned about the PEGI recommendation. I know the psychologist, what's he called, Mark? He might not be agreeing with me, but I would much rather have the boys and girls inside our clubs, inside our schools, because then we can teach them and we can educate them not to be hostile and not to be like angry and aggressive and have a negative online and gaming behavior. What we see is that we have 120 clubs. We have more than 2,000 registered players in our sports clubs. This is old-fashioned, traditional sports clubs opening up esport activities. And they are not professional like Paris Saint-Germain or Dynamo Kiev or some of the other clubs. This is smaller sports clubs outside the country in Denmark where they experience that the traditional sports like football or volleyball or basketball, they're going down, they're losing members. So they can see a way to save themselves and earn money by esports, and we only see a development in this market. What we do is we work with at DGI. What I'm doing with my team of 14 people, we work with the schools in Denmark. We are funded by the government, by the country of Denmark. They are putting a lot of money into this. So we're working with the schools in building a national league for schools to participate in. In Denmark, we have schools, and they have esports courses. So I can join a school, and I can spend most of my time, learning Danish, English, mathematics, and all of that. And then I can spend 10 to maybe 15 hours a week just playing the game I love, learning tactics, learning about the physical fitness, learning about eating right, sitting right, sleeping right, go to bed at 10 or 11 p.m., how to be polite online and all of that. So we are kind of educating the students on that. We have developed a national coach education. So if you are a coach, or if you are maybe an older player who would like to coach a team or players, we have an education for that. It takes a weekend, and it's more like a course, but it's like a fundamental coach education like you have in football or volleyball or whatever. So okay, how can I take this group of people and build some kind of practice around it? We work with partners. So we help sports club and schools secure funding, find the hundreds of thousands of euros to buy, 10, 20, 50 computers. We work with politicians in Denmark to make them understand that this is a really important area, not just for the schools and not just for the sports club and the whole grassroots community, also for that, but also for all the hard-to-reach groups, right? I just talked to a guy, I'm not sure if he's here anymore, but the Para-Olympics committee all around the world are looking at esports because people with disabilities are not really a part of the sports club's lives right now. But just because you're missing a leg or an arm or whatever, it doesn't mean that you are not able to participate in esports. And we have projects in Denmark where we can see refugees, we can see people with disabilities, people with diagnoses like ADHD and autism, Asperger's and other diagnoses, that these people can grow from being part of a club or a school where they can focus on their passion for gaming. We can see that they are more happy at school. They will actually complete a basic education, making them ready for maybe high school or university, or game development, or programming, or designing, or streaming, or casting, or journalism, or other aspects of business linked into the esports business, which they might never have the option to do if it wasn't for the basic education system. So the politicians are really important to understand that this, I really don't care if we call it a sport or an esport. I don't care because I can see so many people love it. I can see the economy in this is so big. So esport is just going to run over the old term. But it's important for politicians to understand the opportunities here to activate and bring values to people with disabilities in one way or another. And then we, of course, work with the sports club. We develop esport activities. We help them organize it, build training facilities, educate their coaches, educate their board members, might be old ones, and then also the politics. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm pushing a button, not sure. Right, this is just a slide showing that all of this is built upon volunteer work. So the sports clubs run on mostly volunteer works, not a lot of them is paid. So that's the core. This is a slide showing that the gamers, the esporters, can be a new target group for the sports clubs to understand, and also for some schools to understand what is this target group. What we see in Denmark and also in Sweden is that more than 50% of the gamers joining a sports club would never have been part of this sports club if it wasn't for the esports. And we would like them inside our sports clubs because it will give them new friends, it will help them become more happy. We have seen studies on that. It will help them become better gamers, or even develop into coaches or casters or streamers or designers or whatever. It helps the sports clubs and the schools as well to attract new economy, new sponsors. We see sponsors in sports clubs that I've never seen before. The sports club, esports clubs that I founded, we are receiving more than 100,000 euros a year in sponsor intake. And that was just, we are only 2 years old, and we don't have any pro teams or elite team. Like it's completely grassroots, completely amateurs. We see a lot of PR and a lot of new media, showing a lot of attention for the clubs and the schools who are working with this. That's good for the schools. They can attract new teachers. They can attract new budgets. They can secure the economy, and they're kind of happy. This is the sports club, esports club I founded. It's called Sörby Esport. Sörby is a small city. 900 people living there. We have 300 people in our club. So it's not all from that city. We have members from all over the country. And we mostly play online and practice online. We have 70 volunteer coaches in our staff, working more than 20 hours per week, because it's their passion. They love it. We pay them by... This was our first boot camp in our club, with pizza and people just eating and sleeping wherever. This was the second boot camp, so we kind of upgraded it, and then we have a boot camp here in April in a big sports arena, maybe 300 people showing up. So and they just love it, and they participate in tournaments. They win money. But they don't do it for the sake of the money. They do it for the friendship. We have focus on physical activities. We go for walks. We go for runs. Not everyone is joining the runs, but a lot of them are joining games in all different manners. We have a lot of speakers coming in, talking about how to be performing in a good way, how to be strong, how to keep the motivation even when you lose. Because it's so difficult, like maybe you know, but it's so difficult to sit at home in your room playing a game and lose. And maybe your teammates will yell at you because it's your fault that we lost, right? And then mom and dad will come in and yell at you because you started to yell at the computer or throw something at the screen. And then you go to bed even more sad than when you started. And we are educating these young people to understand how to cope with this. And how to understand, not to yell at each other, because it's not unusual. I used to play football. We yell at each other all the time. We host our own events. That's a way to bring media awareness, and also a way to bring in economy. We join like more bigger events like DreamHack, and a Danish event, Pro Blast Series. Don't know if you know it, but it was in Copenhagen. It was really nice as well. And when we talk to our members, like, and that's not in our sports club, it's like across everything we do at DGI, they join the club for the game, but they're staying for the friendships. That's what I love, right? And then I have 8 seconds to explain this slide on how to organize esports. But I think it might be a good idea to arrange a consortium in between the 4 countries, and then figure out how to work with schools and education, how to work with sports clubs, how to work with partners like the traditional sports organization, but also with the ESL guys and sponsors and whatnot. And then to start actually doing something, creating activities like this conference and tournaments, and then things will start come together. I don't think we have the right way to do it in Denmark, but I think that we keep on trying to just do something and build projects to learn from it. And I mean, my passion and my vision is always about the little boy and girl who loves to play, you know, the video game, and being able to actually go home and be proud of what they are doing, even if it's like a player or a coach or a designer or whatever they develop into, to find recognition in what they love. So that was all for me. Thank you.